Yeah, in fact, care.com put out a report this year, The Future of Benefits, is that, if I
Yeah,
remember correctly, the title of it. And
that's
I
right.
found it fascinating, the statistics and looking at, as you call it, the new normal. And there was a quote in the report that basically said, we can't just, everybody sort of rose to the occasion because of the crisis, but we can't forget the lessons from the crisis. And I'm just going to be candid with you. I'm a little bit worried that we will go to the old normal. I mean, you
Yeah,
clearly, care.com and LinkedIn are ahead of the game of competitors.
yeah.
But we know there are employers that were rushing people back, and now, of course, people have to come back home because of the variant. But tell me about that report and what you found. And do you think that employers will embrace the new normal when it comes to benefits?
Yeah, so we interviewed over 500 C-level, either HR or benefit advisors inside of organizations. And what we have found is over 98% of them said this is going to be a complete restructure of what looks like the benefits, right? And specifically, and interestingly enough, in childcare and senior care is where you really saw them take aim in terms of helping put support structures in to help families exist. As we all know the stats, and to everyone in the audience who knows the stats, with over 3 million women leaving the workforce, there is another epidemic occurring in front of us, which is just the attrition in the workforce of women in terms of participation because of what they're drawing from family and life and home. So I think employers, and I'm seeing a lot of forward-leaning employers like you talked about, care.com, LinkedIn, the ones that we've mentioned before, I think are going to continue to be able to be progressive and push forward because there's a couple of different issues that they're facing right now, which is how do we keep more moms into the workforce who are not having to choose between family and work? And interestingly enough, what ends up happening is there's all the silent unpaid labor hours that women are having to do at home, taking care of the household, they take on 2/3 of those silent labor hours. And so really progressive organizations are saying, great, how can we actually make it an equilibrium? How can we actually set up benefits so men can actually participate in the silent labor work hours, and also women can continue to feel like they can participate in the workforce and have their family life and structure and not feel this abject decision that they're facing in front of them. When you look at that in the context of what's occurred inside of COVID, right? You have the COVID benefits for the entire populace of employees, and then you've got the populace in terms that really impact those that are attriting from the organizations. And you look at that entire package, you start to see that, will it revert back to the mean? I don't think it's possible to. I think where we're really seeing some forward thinking in terms of this overall, what I call the corpus of impact from COVID-19 on the benefit structure, is also happening on manufacturing lines. It's happening in warehouse working. It's happening in retail. We have all of those different industries showing up and coming to us or coming to others and starting to have that conversation of how do we help parents that are working the graveyard shift in the warehouse so they really have access to care on a perpetual basis, not back to the monolithic 9-to-5 structure of dropping your child off in a daycare center or having to figure out what to do with an aging parent of mom and dad. So when you ask, does it transform for life? I think it's the first time the conversation's really ever happened. And I do think that what's going to end up happening from the groundswell of private industry and employers is there's no turning back at this point. You can't revert back because of all of the different conflation issues that are occurring due to the pandemic.